welcome back to another video. If you guys are new here, my name is Hannah. I'm a veterinary tech assist in my way to becoming a licensed veterinary technician at Penn. If you guys have been here before, thank you for coming back and watching another video. Today I'm going to be talking about what I wish I had known before I got into veterinary medicine and what I want to tell other people who are either new to veterinary medicine, new to a veterinary technology program, or to people who are thinking about doing a veterinary technology or veterinary program. And hopefully this can help answer any questions. As always, if you guys have any questions that I don't address here, or you want me to elaborate on something a little bit more, feel free to drop it in the comments below. And if you enjoy this video, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe. I have some more content kind of related and talking about how to get a job in a veterinary field coming out soon. So without further ado, we can go ahead and get into it. So the first thing I would definitely recommend is if you have never worked in an animal hospital before, or you have not had any experience working in, like you've had experience working in a shelter but not necessarily an animal hospital, I would definitely recommend trying to get some experience working in specifically an animal hospital. I think that shelters and veterinary hospitals are very different. The way that they practice medicine is very different, and each has their highs and lows, their good things and their bad things, so to speak. So I think it's important to get experience in both, especially because when you go through a veterinary technology program, you're going to be learning about things in a different way that shelter medicine might not necessarily follow. And so I think it's important to learn the basics first and then learn how shelter medicine or other practices function based off of that, if that makes sense. Trying to volunteer your time at a local animal hospital, even at an emergency hospital, at like a general practice hospital, anywhere that you can try to get in. I would definitely try to reach out to as many animal hospitals as you can. I know it's really trying to get contacts in the middle of COVID, so I can completely understand if you're struggling with that. And it's really frustrating when you're trying to get experience and nobody's reaching back out to you. So just stay persistent, try to keep your head up, and I guarantee that at least somebody will let you come and shadow. I would definitely recommend trying to get experience first, because as much as I love veterinary medicine and as much as I do not regret making the career choice that I did, I definitely don't think this is for everyone. This is an incredibly intense field. There has been times where I have felt so much pressure that I have cried on shift before. There's many other people who have felt that way as well. This field, as much as I love it, it is not as positive and not as healthy as I would like it to be, and as many other people would like it to be. It is incredibly taxing, and if you do not have the strength to get through that, and if you don't have the pure love for this field and for being in this field, it's not going to last, unfortunately. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think this field is for everyone, and so I just want you to keep that in mind, that if you sign up for this course, or if you sign up for a veterinary technology program or a tech assist program, or even you think you want to go to veterinary school and you start shadowing in an animal hospital and you start learning more about it and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can handle this, it's okay. It's not for everyone, and I'm sure there's a lot of jobs that I couldn't do. So, don't take offense to that. Don't look at that as a bad thing. This field just isn't meant for everyone. I think it's incredibly hard, even for me, to work in this field because it can be so taxing, especially during COVID times. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're moving through this program. I think that the veterinary field is definitely changing, and this kind of leads into my second tip, which is join as many veterinary groups as you can. There's a lot of veterinary groups on Facebook. There's a lot of pages on Instagram as well that you can go and follow. There's places like Veterinary Anesthesia Nerds and like the Penn Foster veterinary technician group, and they also have a tech assist one. They also have one for alumni, and they have one for different semesters, and each semester has kind of like a study group that you can do. I think it's really great to see other people in the program, and it kind of gives you a feel of talking to other people, talking to other students. I would definitely recommend looking and seeing if there's any other veterinary technician groups as well. I would be a little bit wary of some of them because I can get into this in a later video, but some of them do not hold high standards of themselves. I have been witness to some racism and some other things through some of these veterinary groups that I no longer associate myself with. I think that's for a later video, but just kind of be careful because, like I said earlier, this field is not as healthy as people deserve it to be, and so it's all changing. Racism is definitely something that's deeply ingrained in veterinary medicine, even if it doesn't look that way from the outside. It's definitely something that people are coming to learn and people are coming to work on, which is really great. But I just want you to be aware that not every veterinary group is going to be the best. There are going to be toxic veterinary professionals on the different groups that you go on, and toxic looking like client shaming, racism, people like gaslighting people. There's people who will say like, oh, well, if you aren't sad for every single euthanasia you do, then you shouldn't be in this field. And if you aren't crushed by every euthanasia or crushed by every hard client situation, you don't deserve to be in this field and you shouldn't be in this field, and things like that. I can get into a later video about why I don't believe that that is correct, and I don't think that is the way that veterinary medicine is going to get better. But again, that's for a later video. So those are kind of like the first two things that I definitely recommend. The third one is that don't expect this to be a 9-to-5 job. Even as a receptionist, the last place I worked at as a receptionist, I had more regular hours than I do as a tech assist. I definitely took that for granted, but even working as a receptionist is incredibly grueling and it's incredibly tiring. I feel like even though my job is more physically tiring now as a technician or as a tech assist, and even though it's more like mentally exhausting too, because I have to be like processing things at multiple levels all the time, definitely working as a receptionist was more emotionally taxing because I am just not really a people person. It kind of tires me to deal with people all the time. And so when I was doing client service all the time, every day, especially face-to-face, it was definitely pretty taxing for me. So I just want you to keep in mind that this job anywhere in veterinary medicine is tiring, and not to say that it's not worth it. I'm not trying to scare you guys, but I just want, sorry, Peep Lily. But she's my cat. But just keep in mind that this is a hard job and you will probably come home from shifts and be incredibly tired, and that's okay. Things will get better as we work to better veterinary medicine, but just I just want you guys to kind of have realistic expectations, because I didn't really have those when I first started in veterinary medicine, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of shocked by it when they first come in. So hopefully that helps. The next one is that I didn't think that veterinary medicine was going to cause me to work on so many things internally. And I mean that in a way where in veterinary medicine, when you're going to school to become a technician, you are challenged quite a bit. You're asked to learn quite a bit of information. And the hardest part is learning the difference from the book to in clinical practice. It's incredibly important to just kind of practice and keep in mind that there's a lot of information being thrown at you all at once. Keep in mind that you have to work on yourself, and so having to tell the difference between textbook and clinical symptoms, it can be really difficult, and it can be hard to trust yourself and trust your own opinion, especially when you're learning. And that's something I have trouble doing anyways, because I am an insecure person. And so veterinary medicine has forced me to work on my insecurity and my self-doubt and also my anxiety, because I tend to overthink things. And so veterinary medicine, if you relate, then veterinary medicine might cause you to work more on the way that you think like that, which I am definitely all for the better. I mean, it's not like I'm a completely different person, but I am definitely more confident with myself. I'm more confident about my medical evaluations, about my gut feelings regarding certain medical situations. So it's definitely really important to just kind of keep in mind that, again, this is not a job for the lighthearted, and you might be pushed to make some difficult changes and some deep changes that might also reflect things deeper than just at your career level. It might also affect your personal life too. And so just kind of keep that in mind. I didn't mean for this video to like turn out so like, I don't necessarily think it's negative, but I just want it to be like a fair warning for the people coming into veterinary medicine. There are so many good things about being a technician and working in the veterinary field. It's one of the most rewarding things I've ever done, because getting to be there when the animal's sick and being able to be there day after day as the animal's coming back and feeling better, that's one of the most rewarding feelings in the entire world. And also, what I said earlier, as you know, I'm an insecure person and I'm very anxious. Learning to combat that, something that I've had basically my whole life, and learning to combat that and learning to trust myself and trust my own medical evaluations has been so incredibly amazing too, because I'm like, oh, I was right, like I got this right, and that's a great feeling. So there are a lot of really amazing things about veterinary medicine. It's just the way that this field is right now, I think it has a lot of potential to become even better, but the burnout rate of which veterinary professionals experience is incredibly high. And so I don't want anyone watching this video or anyone who follows me to become one of those people that jumps into veterinary medicine really excited and then gets burnt out really quickly because they had no idea how taxing it would be, because there are quite a few people who do that, unfortunately. And if there's nothing wrong to be one of those people, I just think that if you could spend that time and if you could spend that money and honestly all that energy that you put into going to school and learning all of this, if you could spend that on doing the thing that you actually want to do instead of a mistake, there's still things that you learn, but there is a incredible amount of emotional tax that goes on you after this job. And so I want to save anybody who doesn't need to go through that from going through that, if that makes sense. And I can make another video about all the things that I love about veterinary medicine, because there are way more, and that would honestly be a really fun video, because I love talking about all the things I love in veterinary medicine and all the cool things. This is kind of just things that I wish I had known, and there's definitely so many things that I love about this field, but it's really hard to work in this line of medicine. That is all of my tips for what I wish I had known previously. Again, if you guys have anything that I didn't touch on or you want to hear me talk more about, please drop it in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope it didn't scare you guys off too much. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.